Welcome to another chapter of Aloka Dhamma discussion in JAYA TV. And today again I would like to, with great gratitude, to welcome to our studio Venerable Sadalankawe Kalanidasatero and Venerable Gampa Sumanansatero to this insightful Dhamma discussion. Last week we spoke about unwholesome mentality and wholesome mentality, and unwholesome deeds and wholesome deed. And then we spoke about how we can manage our mentality in picking the wholesome deed and unwholesome deed. I would like to ask from Venerable Sadalankawe Kalanidasatero, sir, is the mentality the only factor affecting us in doing and picking wholesome or unwholesome deeds? And what is the path shown to us in Buddhism, making sure and leading us to do the wholesome deeds?
Dear devotees, according to Buddhist philosophy, the mind is the main factor driving us to the wholesome or unwholesome deeds. In Dhammapada, it is mentioned, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma, Mano Setta Manomaya. Lord Buddha has preached, the mind is the forerunner for everything. And the mind is supreme and all thoughts are made by the mind. In Dhammapada, Yamaka Vagga, it is also shown that what are the effects of unwholesome and wholesome deeds. Manasache paduttena bhasativa karotiva tatonan dukkha mangveti chakkangva vahato padam. When our mind is unclear or dirty, the deeds we do both verbally and physically become unwholesome. Then we will have to face the consequences of those deeds. Lord Buddha has given an excellent example for this. As a chariot that follows a bull is a big burden and causes the bull harm and discomfort. In the same manner, when we do unwholesome deeds, so-called akusal, it causes harm and discomfort to us in our journey in samsara. A great example is the story of great Arahant Maha Moggallana, because he killed both his parents by beating them in one of his previous lives. Maha Moggallana Theru was beaten by a group of robbers in the present life even after he attained enlightenment. On the other hand, when our mind is clear and peaceful, we do wholesome deeds, kusal. And when we do good deeds, we will receive benefits accordingly. Tatonang sukha mangveti chayava anapayini. As our shadow does not cause us pain, in the same manner, the benefits from wholesome deeds will not cause us pain, and it will follow us in our cycle of life. Dear devotees, it is very clearly explained in Buddhist teachings that if we want to do wholesome deeds, we need to control and manage our mind. Here, our mind needs to be peaceful. How can we do this? It can be done by practicing dana, sila, bhavana, practicing generosity, virtue, and meditation. Only when we practice those traits, we will be able to have a peaceful, guarded, and well-managed mind.
Well, it is very clear that the mind is the most critical factor in deciding between good deeds and the bad deeds. And throughout last couple of weeks, we spoke about the importance of having that right and the guarded mind. Venerable Sumanasatero, sir, as Buddhists, what should be the main objective and what is the biggest benefit we would get by having and developing a controlled and guarded mind.
With respect to Venerable Sandalankawe Kallandasana Thero, Mr. Karagala and dear devotees, in the Anguttara Nikaya, the sections of ones the Lord Buddha has preached, Naham bhikkhave anyang ekadhammampi samanupassami yang evang abhavitang mahato anattaya sangvattati yatedan chittang bhikkhave abhavitang mahato anattaya sangvattati iti. No other things do I know that bring so much harm as a mind that is undeveloped and uncultivated. An undeveloped and uncultivated mind truly brings unhappiness. When our mind is undeveloped and uncultivated, it leads us to do unwholesome deeds, akusal, which cause both ourselves and the people around us harm and discomfort. Dear devotees, in the world history, there were events that had caused mass destruction, such as the atomic bomb, genocides, ethnic conflicts, and world wars. The initial thought or seed which had caused these massive destructions would have arisen in the mind of one individual person. This is a good example of how an undeveloped mind causes harm to the people around them and the entire society. The Lord Buddha has also preached in the same sutta, Naham bhikkhave anyang ekadhammampi samanupassami yang evang bhavitang mahato attaya sangvattati yatedan chittang bhikkhave bhavitam mahato attaya sangvattati iti. I do not see even one other thing that when developed and cultivated leads to such great good as the mind. A developed mind leads to great good. Dear devotees, a good example for this is the story of Angulimala. Because his mind was uncultivated and undeveloped, he went around killing people and almost killed his mother. But after he went forth and became an bhikkhu, he was able to get rid of his defilements and develop his mind. Eventually, he was able to attain enlightenment by developing and cultivating his mind. Mr. Karagala, from this we understand the importance of a developed and cultivated mind. And with a mind of that nature, we will be able to develop Sila, Samadhi, Panya, virtue, concentration, and wisdom. And at the same time, we'll be able to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. Finally, we will be able to achieve enlightenment and liberate from the harsh journey of samsara.
So, I will get myself into this corporate leadership shoes, because as leaders, having a developed and controlled mind definitely will allow us to focus on the right issues and come up with the right strategies without getting distracted by unnecessary variable around us, because most of the variables are distracting us, and through that we definitely be able to make the right decisions on behalf of our team and on behalf of our organization. And on top of that, if we understand the consequences of the deeds which we are doing or which we are about to do, we will definitely make the right and correct decisions. If, as explained, we follow the Buddhist teaching, and if we develop our mind accordingly, we will definitely be able to do that, and that will definitely make us better leaders, and most importantly, it will make us better human beings. And Venerable Sumanwansa Thero explained about the mass distractions happened in the history of this world, which is true. And we spoke about the compassion a couple of weeks back. As Buddhists, we should be compassionate and should not destroy or harm any lives, and should always do the good deeds, and which will definitely cultivate good karma. Venerable Kalyanadasa Thero, sir, how should the teaching of Buddhism, especially compassion, assist us in achieving a sustainable happiness?
Mr. Karagala, compassion is the sympathetic pity and concern towards suffering or misfortunes of others. In Pali, compassion is known as karuna. In Visuddhimagga, the book known as the Path of Purification, compassion is defined as paradukkhe satisadhunang hadayang kampanang karotiti karuna. When see others suffering, the hearts of the good people will be moved. So that is the compassion. Best individual example we have for practicing compassion is the Lord Buddha. In Mahakapi Jataka story, now that is one of the many examples for that. Dear devotees, once Bodhisattva was born as a great monkey. One day, he saw a man stuck in a rocky pit in the jungle. Realizing the man was unable to get out of that pit, out of compassion, the monkey helped the man to get out of it. After coming out from the pit, the exhausted monkey rested on the man's lap and asked the man to protect him from other dangerous animals. However, because of the unwholesome mind, the man thought, now I am hungry. Meat of this monkey will be good food for me. Now thinking that, even though the monkey helped him, the man took up a stone and smashed onto the monkey's head. Severely wounded monkey looked at the man with the eyes full of tears and said, "Oh good sir, even after I helped you, why do you harm me? What wrong have I done to you?" With no hate in his mind and regardless of his own pain, the monkey thought out of compassion, "May this man be blessed with long life," and showed him the way to reach safely out of the jungle. Mr. Karagala, in Metta Sutta, it is said, it is given, Mata yata niyam puttang ayusa eka putta manurakhe. As a mother loves and shows loving kindness to her only child, in the same manner, we need to learn to show kindness and compassion to everyone. Dear devotees, when we show compassion to everyone, they will start to treat us in the same manner in return. Through that, all of us will be able to live a happy mundane life. When we are happy, it makes it easy for us to practice meditation. And through that, we will be able to attain enlightenment and gain sustainable happiness.
Venerable Kalyana Dasana Thero explained about the compassion in Buddhist language, karuna, and the way to achieve sustainable happiness through practice of compassion. Venerable Sumanwansa Thero, sir, I have two further questions on compassion. Number one is, what are the benefits as Buddhists we can achieve by practicing compassion? And second one is a bit of opposite question. Is there any reference to the opposite of compassion in Buddhism?
Mr. Karagala, according to Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, compassion is trying and promoting the possibility of reducing suffering. It is the demonstration of non-cruelty. It's the ability to understand the cause for the helplessness in those overwhelmed by suffering. If you convert this understanding to subside cruelty, you can successfully practice compassion. Dear devotees, something very important that we need to understand is that to generate compassion, we need to think about others' suffering. When we do that, we have to make sure we generate compassion and not the sorrow of seeing others suffer. The purpose of compassion is preventing cruelty. In Pali, this is called vihimsa. Mr. Karagala, when there is cruelty, a person speaks evil words, filthy words, and malicious words. These are parts of dasa akusal and have the potential to generate new birth, patisandhi viññāna. So these are also known as kammapata. Dear devotees, there are 4 negative consequences of cruelty. The first one is that a person will be born in woeful realms after his death. This is known as duggati bhaya. The other 3 consequences of cruelty or not having compassion are danda bhaya, paranuvada bhaya, and attanuvada bhaya. A person will be punished severely. This is known as danda bhaya. Paranuvada bhaya is the possibility of being accused by others as an evil person. And lastly, attanuvada bhaya is the guilty feeling that arises within a person for infringement of the law. Mr. Karagala, there are many benefits or advantages for compassion. According to the Mettanisansa Sutta, there are 11 benefits of kindness, and the same benefits can be attained by practicing compassion. A person with kindness and compassion can sleep and wake up in comfort. He has no evil dreams, dear to both humans and non-human beings, has the protection of deities, faces no harm from fire, poison and weapons, has a concentrated mind, has a serene expression in his face, dies unconfused, and lastly, if he doesn't attain arhatship in that life, he will be reborn in a Brahma world. Dear devotees, one who wants to develop compassion should begin with understanding the negative impacts of lack of compassion and the benefits of practicing compassion. Then only should you start practicing compassion. But you should not start with the people very dear to you, or someone who is neutral or hostile, one of the opposite sex, or one who is dead. A wretched, unfortunate person is a fit object for compassion meditation. If you cannot find such a person, practice your compassion on a person who suffers from a severe illness. Having developed compassion for that person, you can spread it to the people very dear to you. After that, to neutral people. And lastly, people who are hostile to you. This will lead you to practice your compassion for all beings in the similar manner, irrespective of whether they are close to you or not. This is how a person should nurture his mind with compassion.
So, practically, there are 2 types of leaders. Leaders who are compassionate and leaders who are cruel. Leaders with cruelty will treat their teams with vengeance and set goals which are impossible to achieve and will never appreciate the team. And they take the people and the team and the organization down. If we live and the practice as explained, the Buddhist philosophy of compassion, we will definitely understand the problems of our team very well, and we will set appropriate possible targets to our teams, and we will always appreciate our teams. That will definitely, it will develop a better and productive teams and more efficient teams, and that will make all of us good leaders. And I would like to take a different subject as we have spoken about compassion and cruelty. This is again something which is very common, especially when we work with our kids and in the organization. We always give up things very easily. We are not faithful to our effort. That is because multiple reasons. It is because as there is no actionable plan, there is no self-belief, and the poor self-perception about our abilities. We should keep fighting with the odds. Failure should not be an option to any of us. We have to keep trying and until we find our destination and the goals. For me personally, Lord Buddha's character is the best example for never giving up. Venerable Kalardasa Thero, sir, can you explain this principle of never giving up from a Buddhist point of view?
Now, Lord Buddha is the only person in the world who has achieved the unimaginable Buddhahood. There are lots of examples from the life of Siddhartha Bodhisattva and also from his previous lives for this. The main reason for giving up is the lack of courage. And there are some other reasons like not having a strong goal and a willpower, not having a proper action plan, and having higher expectations regardless of the resources available, and also inconsistency. We can discuss these one by one. First, let's discuss about the having a strong goal and willpower. Here Lord Buddha had a clear goal, that is to attain Nibbana, and he worked towards that goal for an unimaginable period of time, even after taking absolute prophecy, in Pali we call Niyata Vivarana, from the Dipankara Buddha. The willpower the Lord Buddha had amazes us. He has achieved Nibbana after making an uncountable number of sacrifices. Lord Buddha had his willpower along with the rational reason and a goal. In Buddhism, everything is defined through the law of cause and effect. Lord Buddha has preached Yata Pure Tata Pacca, Yata Pacca Tata Pure. As before, so after. As after, so before. Yata Diva Tata Ratting, Yata Ratting Tata Diva. As by day, so at night. As at night, so by the day. At every instant of his life, Lord Buddha had his goal in his mind. He was reminding himself in the morning and night and every possible moment about the goal he had set himself. Lord Buddha has preached that lack of courage at 3 different stages drives a person to give up a goal. Those are, namely, those stages can be called Arambha Dhatu, Nikkama Dhatu, and Parakkama Dhatu.
As Venerable Kalandasa Thero explained, there are 3 stages we lose our courage and give up. Arambha Dhatu, Nikkama Dhatu, and Parakkama Dhatu. Venerable Sivanasa Thero, sir, can you explain a bit more in detail about these 3 stages?
In the Samyutta Nikaya, it is stated, Atti bhikkhave arambha dhatu, nikkama dhatu, parakkama dhatu. Tatta yoniso manasikaro, ayamaharo, anupannassava, virya sambojjangassa, uppadaya uppannassava, virya sambojjangassa, bihiyo bhavaya vepullaya, bhavanaya paripurya sangvattatiti. Arambha dhatu. Dear devotees, there are some people who want to do something new, but they do not have the courage or strength to start it. They tend to delay it day by day. We have to have an understanding as to why this happens. To do something new, we have to allocate some time and resource from our existing daily routine. You will have to sacrifice some other work in order to make time for this new work. For example, you have to give up 1 hour from the time you spend on watching television or roaming around in the phone to start meditation. Due to the lack of courage to do these sacrifices, people do not start working towards new goals. The second one is Nikkamadhatu. Dear devotees, some people start working towards a new goal, but do not have the courage and self-discipline to continue. After some time, the old habits surface back and interrupt and hold back the new plan and the goal. The uncontrolled mind is the main reason for this. Our mind tends to do what makes it happy. We call it piti in Buddhism. When we start working towards a new goal, we will not get the benefits of that immediately. That is the nature. So there will be a period where there is less or no happiness. But as the mind is always in search of happiness, after a few days of less or no happiness, our mind will automatically go back to our old habits. Dear devotees, however, if you can pass this critical stage with courage and understanding, then you can easily walk towards your end goal, because after some time, when you come closer and achieve your goal, it will generate greater happiness in your mind. The Lord Buddha has explained how to go past this critical stage and improve our courage in his teachings. Lastly is the Parakkamadhatu. Dear devotees, what that means is we might get caught up with the benefits and may lose courage we need as we march towards achieving our goal. A fascinating fact about the Lord Buddha's teachings is that every Deshana or preaching has a well-defined action plan to achieve nirvana. The plans are different, but all the plans direct towards achieving the same goal, which is attaining enlightenment, just like all rivers flow towards the sea. This is why we say Dhamma has the quality of Ehipassika. We can show the path to attain nirvana correctly even before following it.
So one of the most interesting point Venerable Sumanwansa Thero mentioned is this period of no or zero happiness, which is a very interesting philosophy for me personally, because when we start something new, there's always that time period where we will have a zero or no happiness, which through the learning of new things, it will take some time for us to get into that happiness. The biggest problem we have, it's not that we don't know how to put an effort, and we don't know what exactly the courage is. We just don't have a courage to sacrifice that short period of zero or no happiness. But if we don't have that courage, we will never be able to successful. If we follow the Buddhist teaching, we will definitely be able to have the courage to start new things, and we'll have the self-discipline to move away from old habit and start new habits, and we will have the courage to continuously and persistently go through the difficulties until we achieve our ultimate goal. And at the end, we'll make sure that we will never quit until we achieve our ultimate goal. One of the greatest American football coach called great Vincent Lombardi has said once, I quote, "Winners never quit, quitters never win." I repeat, winners never quit and quitters never win. So, unquote. This is what modern leaders and leadership believes. But what we need to understand is this has been preached by Lord Buddha a couple of thousand years ago. So the Buddhism is going hand in hand, or more or less giving a foresight and a direction to the even current leaders and the leadership. So that's all we have today for today's discussion, and I would with great gratitude would like to thank Venerable Sandalanka Kalyanadasana Thero and Venerable Gampa Sumanwansa Thero for being with us here today, and sharing the wealth of knowledge. And as always, may the blessings of Triple Gem be with you for your future work. And thank you everybody for watching us.